Planting fruit trees is better than planting a garden. We're going to talk about why planting fruit trees is better than planting a garden. And when I'm talking about a garden, I'm talking about like vegetables, lettuce, squash, watermelon, all those types of things. All right, we're talking about planting fruit trees. Fruit trees are a game changer. You don't reap the harvest right away, so it's a long-term investment. Typically, it's about 5 years before you start reaping any substantial amount of fruits on a fruit tree. However, once you get these trees established, they're gonna produce insane amounts of fruit. So when that fruit harvest season comes around, you know, apples or peaches or nectarines, or if you're in a tropical environment, the mangoes, whatever, start falling off that tree, you're gonna be getting hundreds, sometimes thousands of fruit coming off of a tree. The point of a fruit tree is to automate your prepping or your homesteading. That's really what it is. It's an automation process. I'm automating getting food fast, right? I wanna do less work and get more. That's the goal. That's what you want in business. That's what you want investing. That's what you want in lifestyle. So for prepping, this is how I'm automating. I'm automating with fruit trees. And you can take that automation to the next level by planting them by streams of water. If you know the Bible verse about God planting his people by streams of water and they'll yield their fruit in their season, that's the same thing. Do that with your fruit trees. Plant them by, you know, water or a spring, and they'll naturally water themselves. So obviously nothing is fully automated. You're not gonna fully automate anything, but the goal is to automate as much as possible. So we planted apple trees, pear trees, nectarines, and peaches and cherries. Those are the ones that we planted here. So that's what we chose for our personal homestead. We live in North Idaho, so we're in the hardiness zone. I think it's 6 something. So it's colder here. So we need fruits that can survive that cold hardy zone. So when you're buying your trees, make sure you look up your cold hardy zone on a map and then buy fruit trees that are gonna match that cold hardy zone. So for us, these ones could survive this type of climate, and so far they have survived through a winter. We planted these last year before winter, and they're all starting to bud this year, so we can see the little green buds coming off of them. All right, so right here, we have which one is this? This is a semi-dwarf apple tree right here. And this is gonna be awesome. We're clearing out some space, planting these trees. So once again, long-term investment for these guys. I have a family member who has a pear tree. They bought their house, it came with the pear tree, right? And this pear tree has been there since a long time ago. They've never watered it once, and it produces hundreds, if not thousands of pears every single year. They don't water it, and it produces fruit for them. Pretty amazing. Now, obviously, even if it's a well-established tree, you still want to take care of it, probably watering it, trimming off, you know, dead branches and stuff like that. You know, when you trim back dead branches, typically it's going to allow the younger, more vital ones grow and produce more fruit. So it'll produce more fruit when you do that, because otherwise you're wasting energy towards branches that aren't going to produce fruit. That takes some skill. I'm no master at pruning. However, you prune the trees, you're going to get more fruit. So you prune it back, boom, you get more fruit. Fruit trees are amazing. They're super nutritious. You can store them really easily. When you're in your homesteading canning process, it's very easy to can fruit. So fruit are gonna can very effectively, and they carry vitamins, minerals, not a lot of protein, but they got some carbohydrates. I think fruit is probably the best survival food if you can get access to it. And in a survival type situation, fruit is probably gonna be one of the hardest things to get access to. In the winter, I can hunt, right? But I can't go to the grocery store in an apocalyptic type situation and buy an avocado or buy a pear or buy an apple. Having fruit stores is super important. For a homestead, if you're planning, if you're a prepper, you know, that kind of stuff, you want fruit trees because they're gonna produce massive harvests. You can barter off some of the excess fruit, and then you can can some of the excess fruit. Fruit trees, way better than planting a vegetable garden. All right, so this is a peach tree, believe it or not. We're here in Idaho growing peaches, pretty cool. So stone fruit, some stone fruit are cold hardy enough to survive here. Yeah, if I plant a bunch of trees here, let's say we planted, I think 12 trees last year. As I said, cherries, nectarines, peaches, apples. Essentially, if you were to plant, like, let's say even 20 trees, and each of those 20 trees produces 100 fruit, which is, you know, a low yield for a fruit that's fully matured. You're over 2,000 fruit right there. That, you know, you harvest that amount of fruit, you're not going to be able to eat that much. It's going to go bad. You know, you're going to can some of it, you're going to trade some of it, trade some for meat. These things are producing naturally on your own. You don't need to do a lot of work to maintain them. You know, you can barter off some of those to get some things that you don't want to work for. On top of that, you can also use it for bait too. So I can use fruit trees to bait in deer, elk. You can bait in predators, bear and stuff like that, cougar. Are they the best eaten? they're not as good for you as eating, you know, we're designed to eat deer and elk and stuff like that. Cervidae, I think is how you pronounce the scientific species. Basically animals that, you know, chew the cud, as the Bible says. They ruminate on their food. Those things are gonna have more nutrition for us than a bear. But nonetheless, you could hunt a bear, you could bait a bear. Bottom line is, fruits have so many uses. Bait, food, barter, canning. And it's one of the best survival foods. Planting these fruit trees is gonna have a better long-term effect. On top of that too, with vegetables, you're gonna have to keep replanting them every single year. You're gonna have to keep doing stuff to them every single year. Yes, you get a sooner payoff. You know, you get paid off that year. You know, you plant some vegetables, you get that vegetable that year. So it's a short-term gain, but this is a long-term investment. This is an investment strategy. So if you're into investing, you got cryptocurrency, stocks, that kind of stuff, this is like a cryptocurrency or a stock. I put this in here now. 5 years from now, I'm gonna reap a harvest of a lot of fruit. This is the investment strategy for prepping. Get yourself some fruit trees. So we planted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 trees. Okay, so it was 10 trees. I got the number wrong. We planted up on here. This is south-facing slope. Obviously, if you get that south-facing slope, it's ideal. You're gonna get more sunlight. The plants are gonna grow better. And we're gonna knock down some more trees and plant more of these trees. You like cover, trying to get some cover from humans seeing you. We live out in the middle of nowhere, so we barely ever see anybody. Fruit trees are gonna help with that. So we have other trees for cover. Instead of just knocking them down because they're close to the house, we're gonna put fruit trees. It's a great way to get the same benefit of the tree cover and while also reaping fruits. Another thing that's cool too, we're planting them on the slope. We get a lot of water coming down from the mountain. That's a good place to put these trees because water's flowing through the earth there. In the event that I don't have access to an electric pump and I'm hand watering everything and life gets crazy, planting them in an area where it's gonna be more moist, they're gonna pick up that water naturally. We've got some springs and creeks on this property too, so there's also great options to utilize, you know, water to water the trees on their own. I hope this video helped you. This is why fruit trees are better than planting a garden.